Hey guys, before the show gets started this week, I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm changing up the intro a little bit, bringing a throwback to something that I used to do and trying to bring it to the new show. Let me know if you guys like it. I do talk about it a little bit in the episode that you're about to listen to. So, yeah, this was my decision. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Small Town Nerdcast. I'm your host, Brian, and boy, oh boy, do we got a show for you. So, San Diego Comic-Con happened this past weekend, and one of the big things that I was excited for was Marvel was going to be back in action, and we didn't know we knew they were going to announce some things. We weren't 100% sure what they were going to announce, but now smoke's cleared, the weekend's over, and Marvel has pretty much all but lined out how phases 4 through 6 are going to line up. Now, phase 6 still pretty far away, and there's some unnamed or to be determined things happening. However, they did announce a butt ton of stuff. Also, since then, some trailers of things that I'm interested in have dropped, and so I'm pretty excited for that. I mean, there's a whole bunch of shit out there in news that came out of San Diego Comic-Con, but you know me, I have specific interests, so only specific things interested me. So we're going to be talking about some of those things today, and have some other like nifty things that I came across in my news travels, so to speak. So we'll talk about some of those things, and then some drama, entertainment drama, or pop culture drama, if you will. And so we'll get into that by the end of the show. So up first, guys, let's hop into the nifty nerd news. That being some movie trailers that dropped that had me really excited, or series trailers, a little bit of everything. So up first, the new Clerks 3 by Kevin Smith is coming out soon. I'm a huge fan of Clerks and a lot of Kevin Smith's movies. The man himself kind of not directly got me into podcasting, but he was one of the first big podcasts that I ever listened to, and then that got me thinking, and then I heard some local ones, and that got me knowing that I wanted to podcast. So props to that man, and I really enjoy what he did with Clerks. Clerks 2 was funny, and I'm excited to see what happens with Clerks 3. And so that teaser dropped recently. I think actually at at San Diego Comic-Con, they did a actual trailer and some other stuff, or maybe it was like actually part of the movie maybe they watched like the first 5 minutes of the movie. I think that's what he said on his podcast. I can't really remember. Anyway, moving on. The Munsters, directed by Rob Zombie. It's going to be a series coming to Netflix, and it's directed by Rob Zombie. You know, House of a Thousand Corpses. Didn't he do like a Halloween remake and like The Devil's Rejects? All these crazy movies. So like, oh my God, I was terrified to think what was going to happen with the Monsters. And then you watch the trailer, and it feels like the old Monsters TV series that used to be on television that I've seen reruns on. It's campy as hell and looks goofy and silly. And then I went to IMDb because I was like, no. And I went to go see what the rating is. It is rated PG, people. So this is going to legit be, for as far as I can tell, a family-friendly reboot of the Monsters directed by Rob Zombie. And so I don't even know if he's ever directed kids stuff before. Actually, I'm pulling my phone up now because no, right? Like, no. Like, everything in your brain tells you, like, this is supposed to be terrifying. And I really, God, what is this filmography? I'm just Fear Street. What is this? Penis. He's a writer on there. Haunt. He was a performer on The Flash. Altered Carbon. So you think you could... Wait, what? No. This can't be Rob Zombie. This has got to be... Oh, the soundtrack? What am I looking at here? I don't even know, man. Oh, duh, performer. Like, music performer, because Rob Zombie does fucking music. I'm so stupid. Like, his filmography was, like, really short. Like, and then it went straight into, like, soundtracks. Okay. But, yeah, so, like, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that. But it looks fun. Like, I'm watching it, and I used to love watching reruns of the old show. So I can, like, man, it's hitting me right in, like, the nostalgia here. So, like, but then it's Rob Zombie, and I don't want to trust it because I don't want to be scared or, like, you know, horrible things happen. But it could add the right amount of creep to the show, which I think in today's day and age is something that you could get away with. You know, I think back then it had to be super silly and super campy, but I think now you can get away with a bit more creep factor and still let it be funny and kind of weird. So here's hoping, man, that it's pretty cool. Also got to see a new She-Hulk trailer. We got a teaser earlier, but now we got like an actual trailer, and I really enjoy the kind of beats that they're going with this show. Like, with the teaser, I was excited because, hey, She-Hulk, and it looked funny. It looked like it was gonna be like sexy in a way, like, you know, she's trying to date and like all this fun stuff. I guess it's like, it sounds awful to say, but it seems like the teaser was driven towards, like, come on, girls, here's a hero for you type. So, like, it seemed more female driven in the teaser trailer, whereas here in the new trailer, it seems more general audience. But, like, it feels weird saying that. Like, I don't like saying that, but that's kind of like the feeling I got from it, because in the new trailer, they don't really push the feminine stuff, or not feminine, but, like, I mean, I don't know how else to say that and not sound like a total douchebag. And I'm sorry for that, because I'm not trying to. But I guess, like, they're pulling back from the more, like, female-based comedy and to a more general thing, which I think was the normal tone of the show. Maybe someone thought, hey, let's do a teaser that, like, appeals to women, you know, like, that's what it feels like they did with the teaser when you compare it to this trailer. But what I like about the new trailer more is that it gives a better feel for how the show is actually going to be, versus just little snippets. But I guess that's the difference between a teaser and a trailer, right? Like, the trailer is obviously going to give you more information, which they do. It looks like there's going to be some fourth wall breaking, and looks to be a lot more humor between Jen and it seems like Bruce might be in the show a little bit more. I don't know. So I don't know, but I like it. I dig it. I like where it's going, and there's freaking Wong is in it again. But then I don't know if it's just like a one episode thing or like a cameo, because they do make jokes about cameos and part of their fourth wall breaking stuff. So I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see how the series plays out. The last trailer that I got a peek of, or I say peek of, I saw it online before recording, was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This was a movie that I was super excited for, but very terrified for ever since Chadwick Boseman passed away, because how were they going to continue the story of Black Panther when, unfortunately, you lost your Black Panther? And because, I mean, everyone loved Chadwick Boseman. He was fantastic as T'Challa, sorry. And he's just, he was such an amazing actor all around. So what do you do? And it's not like they didn't have other good actors in Black Panther. Don't get me wrong. They have good actors in Black Panther. But, you know, I think everyone was a little worried with what was going to happen next. And, you know, I've said ideas on the show before, or maybe on my previous podcast before, of like, well, maybe, you know, at first it was like, yeah, let's go the Shuri route because that happens in the comic books. I thought maybe you could play with the multiverse and have Michael B. Jordan come back as a good guy this time, like where he becomes the Black Panther, but is a good Black Panther. And so there was a lot of ideas. It looks like Marvel's going to push the Shuri route, despite some of the actors' stances that she's had on like anti-vaccine stuff, which that's gotten actors in trouble before and pulled from stuff before. But unlike those people, it seemed like I can't remember her name who plays Shuri. She seemed to have all but deleted her Twitter account and kind of. I'm sure Disney was like, "Hey, hush, hush," and she was like, "You're right. I like money. I will not say things. I will keep my beliefs to myself," is what she said. And which, in some ways, you know, might be very helpful for some actors and politicians and people out there and neighbors. Just, you know, have your beliefs, but keep them to yourself, right? And then don't force other people into bad decisions that you make. But anyway, Black Panther trailer, super moving. Just had me in my feels because they address Chadwick Boseman passing away or T'Challa passing away or not there. The mother has you get glimpses or peeks of a great speech she's making, talking about losing her entire family. And I don't know what that means with Shuri or not, but so I don't know. It seems interesting. I'm pretty stoked to see it. Also, we get a great look at Namor the Submariner, who's going to be in here, and I love his look. It looks very Aztecian, very like Hispanic. So I'm really for that. And also, it looks like we get we don't get to see the suit or anything, but it looks like we get to see Ironheart, who's newer to the comics. And so it's cool, man. I like seeing Marvel bridge the gap between bringing new old characters into the screen in a new light and bringing their newer characters at the same time. You know, they're pulling from all different decades of comics and characters, and I'm for that, man. Bringing the old and the new together to give something that everyone can love, you know. So I'm for this. I am 100% for this. And so, yeah, those were the movie trailers that I saw. Other big news has to do with the phases, and there's a shit ton of stuff here, guys. Marvel all but announced like 30 or more projects. It's ridiculous. And so I'll just kind of briefly go over some of the stuff and kind of maybe bring up things that I'm excited for. I might expand a little bit more on that. We'll see. But to finish out Phase 4 on Disney Plus, they have She-Hulk coming out and an I Am Groot miniseries, which looks really interesting and adorable. So I'm all down for that. Also, I believe on Disney Plus is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that's going to be coming out this year in December. And then, of course, for movies, we have Black Panther Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which comes out later this year as well. And that should wrap up Phase 4. Phase 5, they announced, is going to be tons of Disney Plus shows. You're getting season 2s of What If and Loki. You're getting Echo, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, X-Men 97, which is animated, Spider-Man Freshman Year, which is also animated, Agatha Coven of Chaos, Marvel Zombies. I already said Echo, right? And then Secret Invasion is also going to be coming out. And these are just Disney Plus shows, which I think I think Secret Invasion is going to be cool as a Disney Plus show. Daredevil Reborn or Born Again is going to be really cool. Marvel Zombies could be really interesting. And I believe they said that's going to be rated R. So that could be cool. Of course, I think we're all excited for Loki season 2 and What If. Even though if What If wasn't really my favorite show, it did some cool stuff, and I think people are really excited for season 2 of that. Movies coming out in Phase 5. Hi, RJ. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone.
Good job. As far as movies go for Phase 5, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, the Blade movie, I say the Blade, but Blade is coming out. Captain America: New World Order and Thunderbolts, and like so. My God, that alone is like how many freaking? That's like 15 shows coming out in Phase 5. Phase 6 is really where the big hitters that people were excited and interested to see. So there's tons of projects that kind of don't have set details yet, but 3 big things. First thing, Fantastic Four. We're getting that sometime, looks like 2025. And to me, that's insane because that means they're gonna have to start filming like now, right? Well, what are we? We're in 2022, so we're like 3 years out from that. So they they got to be starting pretty damn soon to be filming because how long? Like it's gonna take like a year to put all the CGI crap in it. And I mean, I don't know if you've heard the news, but apparently Marvel's has pissed off a lot of visual effects artists and companies because apparently they have huge demands and do little to help these people. So Marvel's recently come under fire for the way they treat visual effects artists. But so that being said, if they can keep visual effects artists happy, they are going to have to start filming really soon to get all that and reshoots and all kinds of it's making my head hurt, man. But of course, if you haven't noticed, we haven't announced any Avengers stuff yet, and that leads us to our final 2 movies. There are Avenger movies that Kevin Feige announced, and they're going to wrap up the end of these 3 phases. And it seems like, if I heard that correctly from a news source, what the plan is to do with Avenger movies going forward is to use them to wrap up major phases, like big group phases like that, where we had Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. We use Avengers movies like that, possibly in 2 parts in the same way, to close out like these big phases and really bring these characters together and like these crazy movies like they did with the first big group. That being said, let's get on to the names. So the first one they announced was Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Of course, we've seen Kang appear in the Loki TV series, or we saw one version of Kang in the Loki TV series. He was holding back all his other versions. That was until Sylvie, spoiler alert, killed him. And now our realm, our universe, or the entire multiverse is now at risk from all the other Kang the Conquerors that are out there and possibly want to destroy our world. So that might be kind of how the first movie lays out. And then the second one is Avengers Secret Wars, I know Kang the Conqueror is a big deal and a pretty impressive dude, but Secret Wars is what has me most excited because I don't know if you've got man, I gotta probably post reviews from my old show. But the Secret Wars comic, the one that came out here recently, maybe 2014, I think I can't remember when Secret Wars. So there's 3 different versions of Secret Wars. You have like Secret War and Secret War 2, and now you have Secret Wars, which was the most recent one. And then in that recent one, which leads me to believe this is the route they're going, it's all the multiverses are made into one battle world where like they all exist and all the characters exist on one planet. And in the comic book, I believe it's like Doctor Doom and Reed Richards who do this because basically the incursions are going to wipe out the 616 and like every universe that it's existed. And so to save the multiverse and save our universe, Doctor Doom, Reed Richards, and man, I can't remember who else is involved in all this. I think it's like most of the Illuminati. They create Battle World to exist like outside the multiverse or some crazy shit. Basically, so everyone doesn't die. That's what they do, and that's how they do it. And so what ends up happening is heroes come to save the day. They fix everything somehow. I don't think they use the Infinity. I forget what they use. They have an Infinity Gauntlet to help them fight, but God, who was it? There's someone like at the bottom of the world that's holding it all together, and I forgot who it was. And I don't want to give too much of the story away from the comics because, hey, they might be using that for the movie. But you should read the comics. Maybe I will review the comics. Maybe I'll reread the comics for the show just so we can talk about them, get excited for Secret Wars because I'm fucking excited for Secret Wars. But yeah, so that was a lot of the stuff that Marvel announced here recently at San Diego Comic-Con, which to me overshadowed any other thing that I could possibly care about happening at San Diego Comic-Con or anywhere else for that matter. But I don't know, man. I'm super excited. I'm super stoked. That's why pretty much this whole episode was dedicated to the Marvel panel and what they announced movie-wise and phase-wise going forward. In fact, I don't think I have any other news. There's going to be a Fallout show on Amazon. I don't know if you anyone who's played the Fallout games like Fallout. I mean, I'm sure there's some of you that played Fallout 1 and 2, but for a lot of us, Fallout 3 was our first game because it was like a survival first-person shooter type game, like RPG game, which was a lot of fun. I played that. New Vegas. Didn't play 4, actually. I think New Vegas was the last one I played before I kind of fell off from the Fallout series until I had a falling out from the Fallout. Yeah, see what I did there. I've been kind of wanting to go back and play 1 and 2 because they're more like Diablo, like top-down looter shooter type, or not looter shooters, but looter games. Okay, RJ, that's weird noises. So, but yeah, so Amazon is doing a TV show, and hopefully they do better than Paramount Plus did on the Halo show, which, as much as I liked it, I just couldn't keep watching it, man. I couldn't do that to myself. I might try again. Like, I might try rewatching it. Now that it's all out, maybe binge watching it will help me get through it, but, like, waiting week to week, it was just way too easy to find other things to do. So, yeah. But let's move on, man. So, after talking about the Fallout... Oh, yeah, the drama. No, leave that there. I got to talk on the mic, RJ. You can't have that. So, pop culture drama news. Do you know... I'm sure you guys have watched The Mandalorian Season 2. I think Boba Fett was in it. Had, those shows. And you're probably familiar with the character, even if you haven't watched that shows, known as Baby Yoda, a.k.a. Grogu, a.k.a. the most adorable thing that you've ever seen. And most of us have really loved the character. He's funny, he's awesome, he brings us joy and happiness. However, there is someone out there who does not get the joy, the love, and the happiness out of Baby Grogu, and that is the guy who directed the movie Gremlins, Joe Dante, because he believes that Baby Yoda is a complete ripoff from his character from the Gremlins, Gizmo. So if you guys haven't seen the Gremlins, it's this really awesome show way back in the day, probably mid to late 80s, I think, is when Gremlins came out. But yeah, so it's like this little creature. I can't remember what they're called, but the one named Gizmo. There's a whole bunch of others, but there was like a rule with them. You can't get them wet, and you can't feed them after midnight was the thing. Or else they turned into horrible, crazed monsters that I don't know if they actually killed people, but quite possibly killed people. That guy, man, I wish I could. If I did a video podcast, it'd be a lot easier because you could see what this character looked like. Anyway, that director... awesome name, by the way, Joe Dante. God, that's a cool name. It's like a stage name. I want that. What's your name? My name's Joe Dante. Anywho, he's pissed, and he hates it. Forget Furbies, which legit look like a direct ripoff from Gremlins, but I have issues with this, man, because, like, I get it. Like, you're like... oh, your small, little, big-eared creature looks a lot like my small, big-eared creature, which that upsets me, and I think I'm going to sue you. Forgetting the fact that, like I said, this movie came out mid to late 80s. I'm pretty sure Star Wars came out before that. Most importantly, when did Yoda first appear? Was that The Empire Strikes Back? So let's do a quick little Google search right here. Put Empire Strikes Back. I Oh, look at that. It's a 1980 film. And after looking up the movie Gremlins, that is a full 4 years before the movie Gremlins came out, which means the guy who directed Gremlins and the people who wrote and came up with the characters probably saw that movie. I'm not saying that they saw a short little big-eared creature in there and got an idea, but it's plausible to think that maybe the Gremlin character was not 100% their idea. Oops, did I say that? But yeah, so it's kind of weird that you would cry foul on one. He's just a director, so I don't think he really came up with the character designs or anything like that. So one, him being upset by Baby Grogu is just, I don't know. And maybe he's mad because maybe he was in the works for like this really awesome Gremlins reboot TV show, but then Disney passed on because like, nah, we got this, this other really cool small gremlin-like creature who, he's gonna sell way more toys than Gizmo ever will. But like, I don't know, man, but it's funny to see this dude cry foul and get upset about this kind of shit when, to me, it's pretty obvious it could, like, if he wanted to, like, I don't think he would sue, and I don't even think he jokes around with that. He just sounds mad enough that he might. But if he were to try, I think Disney could have a counter argument with the fact that they had a movie with a creature that, like, the whole argument's being based on, like, oh, your small dude looks like my middleman dude, but if that's the case, then you're saying that those two look alike, which means that your first version would be a lookalike of mine, and if that came out first, obviously, then maybe I'm the one at fault. Like, like his argument breaks down when you really think about it. Maybe he just wants to be relevant again. I don't know. Hell, that's what we all want. That's why I'm doing a podcast, because I just want to be relevant. Like, that's why we're here, man. Trying to fight just irrelevantism. Just trying to fight against the void is what I'm doing, guys. And I didn't mean to get too terrifying there, but anyway, so that's pretty much it for the show, man. As far as like things I've been consuming or like partaking in as far as entertainment wise, I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go here recently, actually. I don't know what's gotten me back into it, but I don't know, man. I think because like my house, actually, the neighborhood that I'm in has quite a few Pokemon spawning in it, so I don't have to leave my room to catch like 10 to 15 Pokemon a night. So, you get like the things you need and you can just fuck off for the night and go to sleep. Like, so it's kind of got me back into it, which has been really fun. Me and my son have been switching off with Animal Crossing. He ruins my island and then I put it back together. And now I'm in the midst of trying to reorganize and change things up a bit. And that's been taking a lot of my time doing that. I'm still trying to finish Pokemon Legends Arceus. I know I haven't streamed it in a long time. It's because really it's not that exciting now. I'm just trying to 100% the Pokédex so that way I can catch the last Pokemon, because I'm pretty much into the end game now. And so I'm working on completing everything, and maybe I'll get back to streaming when it's about time to actually beat the game. I've been reading a book, actual words, no pictures. And it's actually the book is called Astro Ball. It's a book about the Houston Astros and how they changed how they looked at players, drafted players, and signed players based on analytics. It's much like Moneyball. It gets a little more in depth, because things have improved. Like, they actually reference Moneyball a lot in this book as they talk about what the Astros organization did. And despite like the cheating scandal and things like that, you can still look at the Houston Astros organization and realize they're still a great team and a great franchise. I mean, they've won the American League West like how many times now since 2016, or I can't remember when was the first time they won it here recently. And so they've obviously, despite that year they were caught cheating with the trash cans, like banging on trash cans, it like there's still merit to this book because obviously they still built a system to find great players that are making waves in the MLB, like Major League Baseball. And so I find that fascinating. I've been wanting to read this book for a while. I just never wanted to pay full price for the book, and I finally found it at this cool little bookstore in Houston. It's man, where was I? Somewhere off 59 and maybe Shepherd was where I was at, or somewhere near there. I know there's an Amy's ice cream nearby. There's this little strip that has like a Funko Pop store, and then it had like this, I think it was called fourth priced books. Like, you know how there's half price books? Well, this was like quarter price books, and there's like a lot of reference books in there. There's tons of different books in there, and I just happened to see this book sitting there in the window, and I knew immediately I wanted to have it. However, this book was not quarter price because for whatever reason, this bookstore values first editions and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's a first edition book. I didn't even know they made different editions of the book, and I don't think they do. It's just he's trying to rip me off is probably what he was trying to do. But it was still cheaper than cover value. So, like, because I got it for $20, and I think originally it's like 26 or 28. So, I felt like I got some type of bargain out of it. I ended up buying the book, but there was a lot of cool stuff in there. There was like books on Texas history and like ghost stories of Texas, but that was like a signed collector's copy and worth $300 something. So I'm just gonna try to Google it and see if I can get like an electronic version because I love Texas ghost stories, man. I'm really into like mythical Texas, and for whatever reason, and you guys will hear more of that come October because I have a comic book I love to read from that gives like little snippets of stories around Texas and like urban legends and stuff like that. So maybe we'll delve into that again, and that's my plans for October. And so we'll see how that all plays out. And also, now that I'm thinking about it, I did ask over on Twitter, and I'll ask here just to see if we can get more answers. But I had recently asked, because I want to do a themed month this year, and I don't know if I want to save it for September, which is my birthday month, or just do it next month, which is in August. But I'm thinking I will wait for my birthday, so September, the month of September, and make that my themed year. And I went out and asked, hey, what themes would you like? And I had things like game shows, video games, cartoons. I think that was the only 3 I put up there, but like the music and stuff like that, where I would just review some of my favorite things from those categories and talk about them. And on Twitter, with 75% of the vote, because only 4 people voted, cartoons was picked on Twitter. So unless you guys can make a big push and tag me on Twitter or Instagram or something, if you wanted me to do a different category, we're going to be talking about cartoons that I kind of grew up with and am a big fan of in the month of September. So you'll have that going. We're going to get through the rest of this month, July and August. I have an outage in October, which means I'm going to be like super fucking busy. So my goal is to try to record all my October episodes before then. That's why I do like the horror movie, or not movie, but like the scary ghost story stuff of Texas, and I'll try to stuff that's not timely, and I'll try to get that all recorded soon so that way I can shoot that shit out for you guys in October, and I won't have to worry about it with the outage going on, because that's going to take so much of my time worrying about that stuff. And then, I might do the same thing for September. We'll see. Because if I have a theme and I know what I need to record, it makes it easier for me to plan and get that stuff pre-recorded. So that way it's just a little less off my plate, So I can enjoy my birthday month a little bit with taking some time off. And I think that's kind of the plan, is to take some time off, so that way I don't get too bogged down and overwhelmed with the podcast and work and all that and balancing family life. So I think that's what I'm going to spend a lot of the rest of this month. Well, really, this month is pretty much over. So August, I'm going to be hitting the mic really hard. You guys won't see any of that until September and October. And then we come back in November and just, business as usual. So that's kind of what's in store for me. I just wanted to share with you guys. And we'll play it by ear because, I make plans, but I'm also extremely lazy and a procrastinator and love video games and hate work. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. But thank you guys for listening to the show this week. We will see you guys next week. I was going to say Bry-Fy out, but that's my old podcast stuff. And I'm also thinking about working with a new intro theme. I haven't decided if I'm going to put it on this episode or just try to change things up. I've been wanting to change things up for a while now. So, because the first intro that I've been playing for you guys, like it's the current intro, I guess, depending on what happens with this episode, is just something I found that I thought it's got like a country feel, which, I live in a small town. But as I've come to grow, I've realized, I live in a small town, and I do listen to country, but this podcast has really absolutely nothing to do with country stuff like that. So, I'm thinking about maybe bringing back the old Bry-Fy podcast intro, but with a small town spin on it, or get rid of, because in it, if you've ever heard the intro to my old podcast. I'll play it at the end of this episode. You guys will hear this as soon as we leave. It is quite obvious that it cannot be substituted in for another show. It is only usable for the Bry-Fy podcast as it is now. But I'll let you guys hear that, and that's how we'll end the show this week. And you guys can tell me what you think. But anyways, that's it, guys. We will talk to you next week. Later. What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production. Comic book reviews. 50 nerd news. Heroes versus villains.